Hi everybody, I'm here to do some maths for you today and we're going to be learning all about pictograms, which we have done before this year, so it's going to be a bit of a recap for you. I'm going to go through how to put information onto a pictogram and how to answer questions and interpret the information, which means to understand what it all means. Okay, so we're going to get started. I'm just going to explain to you what your pictograms are about first of all, because it's linked to something that we've not really discussed before and there might be some words that you don't know. It's actually a bit linking to our geography work, which is all about the weather. Okay, so I will show you what it's all about this week. Okay, so we're going to be learning about a place called Yeovil, which is in the southwest of Britain. Now, we live in the northwest, so it's on the same side of the map of the country, but it's in the south, whereas we live in the north, so it's at the other end, down at the bottom. Now, you can see on the map that I've showed you here that there's a big green arrow pointing to Yeovil. So I want you to think about whether you think it's inland or if it's coastal. And these are the two words that we've not talked about before. So just have a think about what you think they could mean, and I'll explain that to you in a moment. So do you think it's inland or coastal? Okay, it's inland because it's not close to the coast. The coast is at the edge of the country where the land meets the sea. So that's a place where there'd be lots of beaches and there'd be the sea that you could go and look at as well. So a place like Blackpool is on the coast that we might have been to, because you can go there to the seaside. Okay, so Yeovil is not coastal, it's inland, and we know that because it's sort of in the middle of the map and it's not close to the edge. So I'm going to show you now a pictogram just to reintroduce it to us. A pictogram of the daily weather in Yeovil during January. I'm going to look at it. So just take it all in and see what you can say about the weather during January in Yeovil and explain it to someone that you're with, or you could even just talk to one of your toys and tell them about the weather in Yeovil or somebody else in your house. So have a think about each day and how many days in January there was different types of weather. Okay, so we can see that if I was looking at this, there's no scale, which means that each picture on the pictogram is just equal to one day, otherwise it would tell us differently. So I know that there was 2 days of hail, for example, and mostly the weather was light rain during January, and there wasn't much sun and there wasn't much strong winds. Okay, now we're going to look at another place, which some of you will be looking at some information for your task this week. This place is Torquay. Now, it's also in the southwest of Britain, so it's not too far from Yeovil. But is it inland or coastal? Thinking about the definitions that I told you before. Have a think about that. And well done, it's coastal because it's on the very edge of the map and it's where the land meets the sea. And you can also see there's some pictures of Yeovil for us to look at, and we can see that it's the seaside and it's the sea. Okay, now do you think the weather is going to be similar in January to how it was in Yeovil, or do you think it's going to be different? Let's have a look. So here's the daily weather for Torquay during January, which is a coastal town. We can see that it looks like it was much sunnier in January in Torquay, but it was also a lot windier as well, and that's what comes with living on the coast. There's a lot more wind. There wasn't any snow. There was a similar amount of hail and there was a similar amount of heavy rain, but there wasn't as much light rain. Okay, so generally, if you live on the coast, it is warmer and it's windier than it is in an inland town. Okay, so those are some of the differences, and I just wanted to explain those words to you so that you understand the difference between coastal and inland. Okay, right, we're going to look at a different type of pictogram now. You'll be coming back to Torquay and Yeovil when you do your maths work, but I just want to show you some different types of pictogram now, and I'm going to explain how to answer questions. So we're going to start with this one, and this one will be relevant if you are doing task 1, So people that normally work with Mrs. Barker or Mrs. Seagrave during our maths lessons in school. And this is a pictogram to show Team 1's favourite fruit. And we've got a scale at the bottom, and we've got a little picture of a triangle, and it says 1 triangle equals 1. So that means that if 10 children liked grapes, then I would put 10 triangles in the pictogram, and that would show me that 10 children liked grapes. So it's nice and simple with a scale of 1. We're going to look at a table that we've been given to plot the information first and draw it on the pictogram. Now, when you're doing yours, you can either do this on paper or you can use the drawing tool on Seesaw to actually draw the shape. Okay, I'm going to just use the shape tool that I've got. So let's look at banana. How many children liked bananas? There was 5. So I need to move 5 triangles into the banana row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fabulous. Now grapes, how many children liked grapes? 1 person, and we can see that from the table, so I just need to move 1 triangle to grapes. Apples, 4 children liked apples, so I'm going to move 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we've got pear. There was 3 children that liked pear, so I'm going to move 3 triangles, and I can see that the pictogram gives me a really clear view already of the fruits and which was the most popular and least popular, which we'll talk about in a minute, but it's a visual bit of information for you to just look at and gather your data and your information about Team 1's favourite fruits. Okay, so now we're going to answer some questions about this pictogram. So the first question is, which fruit was the most popular? So we need to understand what the word most means, and also the word popular. Popular means that that lots of people liked it. Okay, so which one was the most popular? So the very most popular one. It's the one that has the highest score. So I'm going to look at the pictogram, and I can see that the one with the most, I've got banana on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and apples has only got 1, 2, 3, 4. So I know that banana was the most popular, so I can type that as my answer. Okay, next question, which fruit was the least popular? So that's got the opposite meaning. Most and least are opposites. So most means that many people liked it, and least means which one did not many people like, which one was the worst, basically. And I can see easily by looking at my pictogram that the least popular was grapes. That's my answer to that one. Right. Next question, how many children liked pears? Well, that means I need to find pears on the pictogram, so I need to look down the side. I've got banana, grapes, apples, pears. Pears is at the bottom. I need to count along at how many children liked it, and I know that my scale's 1, so 1 triangle equals 1. 1, 2, 3. 3 children liked pears. So that's the answer to that question. And these are nice and simple one-step questions where you've just got to look at the pictogram to answer them, so it should be nice and straightforward. And the last one, how many children liked grapes? So we need to find grapes down the side, banana, grapes, apples, pears, and I know that the answer to grapes, there's only 1 triangle, it's only 1 person chose that as their favourite fruit. Okay, and that is our pictogram complete and our questions answered. So if you are going to be trying task 1, if you work with Mrs. Seagrave or Mrs. Barker in maths, please have a go now of answering the questions on task 1. Okay, everybody else, we are going to be looking at a pictogram to show Team 5's favourite colours. Now the difference is this time I can see that I've got a scale here. Now my scale is a circle equals 2. So that means that I can't just draw lots and lots of circles for 1 each time like we did on the last one. So I've got to think of a different way to do it. So I'm going to be using my counting in 2s to help me. So we're going to do the same thing as I've just done on the other task, but this time we need to make sure that we remember that one circle equals 2. So the first bit says I've got red and there's 8 children that liked red the most. So I'm going to have to count in my 2's so I know how many circles that I need to put into the pictogram. So if one circle equals 2, I'm going to drag 1, so I've got 2. And I've got another one, so I've got 2, 4. And I've got 6. And I need 8. So I actually only needed 4 circles, okay? 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, next one is blue, and there were 5 children that liked blue. So I'm going to do the same thing and count in my 2's. So I've got 2, 4. If I drag another one, I'm going to have 6, but I don't need 6, I only need 5. So what shape could I add onto my pictogram that is going to represent 1? Well, I need to cut it in half, so we're going to use a half a circle to show 1. So I've got 2, 4, and 1 more will give us 5. So that's when we need to use our semicircles, they're called. Okay, and remember to really clearly check and really count carefully in your 2's to work out how many you need. Now we've got green, and it's the same number again, so that's nice and easy. 5 children liked green. So I've got 2, 4, and again I can't have another one because I'd be up to 6, so I need to use my semicircle. 6, 2, 4, sorry, 5, 2, 4, 5. Okay, next one is yellow. So I'm going to do the same thing again and see how many full circles I can get. 2, 4, 6, 8, and if I use another one, I'll be up to 10, but we can't go past 9. So that means that I need 2, 4, 6, 8. 1 more will give me 9. Okay, so that's that filled in with the semicircle as well. And the last one, pink. There are 6 children that liked pink. So 2, 4, 6. So if you've got an even number in the table, then we're going to be able to use a full circle because it's a number that we can count in our 2's. But if we've got an odd number, then we're going to have to use some semicircle at some point because it's not in our 2's and therefore we can't use a full circle for it. Hope that makes sense. And now we're going to get on with answering our questions. So I've actually coloured in the circles just to make it a little bit more clearer. Okay, so we've got similar questions to last time. First of all, they are one-step questions where you've just got to look at the information to answer them. So what was the most popular colour? The most popular colour, I need to have a look down all of the rows and I'm going to see which one is sticking out the most. So I can see that the only one that goes all the way along all the squares is yellow. So I know that the most popular colour is yellow. Okay. The least popular colour is the one which fewest people liked. Now we've got 3 different colours that fill up all 3 squares because we've got pink on 2, 4, 6, we've got green on 2, 4, 5 and blue on 2, 4, 5. There's actually 2 least popular colours, there isn't just one, so I need to give both colours as my answer. So we've got blue and green, okay, and that will be the correct answer to that question. Now, how many children liked yellow and green? So these are 2-step questions because you've got to do some working out rather than just looking at the pictogram. So how many children liked yellow? We've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. How many children liked green? 2, 4, 5. So to work out how many children liked yellow and green, I'm going to have to do 9 add 5 equals. So we need to work out 9 add 5. I know that if I add 1 onto 9, I've got 10, and I've got 4 more to add. So I know that 14 will be the answer to 9 add 5. Okay, and that's how many children liked yellow and green. So I need to make sure I've actually written that calculation and written the answer to it. You can't just put 9, 5, because that won't be the right answer. We need to add them together. Then we've got how many more children liked pink than blue. Now this is a tricky question because the language can be a bit confusing. So we need to look at how many more children liked pink than blue. So we know that 6 children liked pink, so we've got 2, 4, 6. We know that 2, 4, 5 children liked blue. So I need to think about how many children liked blue, which is 5, how many children liked pink, which is 6, and I need to count between them. So I'm going to count up from the number of children liking blue to the number of children liking pink. So if I count in my head, I'm going to put 5, then I'm going to count until I get to 6. 5, 6. There's only one number extra, so that's one more child that liked pink than blue. Okay, those are trickier to work out, so check it a few times. And if you are struggling, ask your grown-up to help you with those questions, okay? But they are simple once you've got used to how to do it. Now the last one, how many fewer children liked green than red? So we're not counting how many more, we're counting how many fewer, which means how many less, but we're going to do it in exactly the same way. We're going to count from the smallest one to the biggest one, and that will tell us how many fewer. So I've got to look at green, which has got 2, 4, 5, and how many children liked red? 2, 4, 6, 8. So I need to count from 5 up to 8. So I'm going to put 5 in my head, 5, and I'm going to count up to 8. 6, 7, 8. Okay, so that's 3 extra children that liked red than green, or 3 fewer children that liked green than red. Okay, so we work those 2 questions out in exactly the same way. You're just counting the difference between the smallest and the biggest one. Okay, so I hope that makes sense, and I hope that you are able to have a go and complete the pictograms for the weather in Yeovil, and some of you will be looking at Yeovil and Torquay and comparing the differences between them. If you have any questions, just drop us a message on Seesaw and we can give you some help with how to work them out, okay? Good luck, and I'll see you next week for another lesson to do with pictograms and graphs. Bye!